Never contend with a man that has nothing to lose. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Kenny 2.0.
What chance does a privateer have?
Welcome to Silver Crow.
What do you say to a factory ride?
He showed up at Paris knowing that in order for his stock to rise because his future is uncertain, he had to beat the man that beat him 3 times in a row at Cardiff, aka Tomac. And he did just that. Well, at least 4 out of the 6 races on Saturday and Sunday. They raced both Saturday and Sunday. It was like a double header. Kenny, his future is so uncertain whether or not he's going to be on a POS Suzuki or a green bike or a weed whacker Yamaha. We know he's probably not going to be on a Honda. That's for damn sure. This was the last race he was going to be on a Honda, but hell, he may surprise us. My only question is, what changed? Is he just having more fun? And usually right around the 15-minute mark, he implodes. Motocross and Supercross, he can't withstand the 20 minutes. Is it because of his injury, the Epstein-Barr? Just for the last 3 years, Kenny's always had the speed, but not the longevity. And in these races, you're actually on the track more, but there's a small break in between. So it's more of a sprint. So does Kenny, his new riding style in his late 20s, does it steer him more towards these shorter sprint races? Because the first one is 6 minutes, the second one is 8 minutes, the last one is 12 minutes, as opposed to just a 20-minute, plus a lap in Supercross. Not only that, but he is the aggressor. He was stealing lunch money from Tomac and Webb all night long, at least both nights. He almost ran over Tomac's leg in the last start there. And he was incredibly aggressive. Actually, in one of the races, he was pushing for Tomac for the lead, and Tomac was actually cutting him off, just like how everybody does professionally. They cross jump, and it almost put Kenny in a crazy scenario to hurt them both if they both were to hit each other in the air. You've got a rider that's blocking from the right side and moving all the way over to the left to kind of set up for the bull corner, but also block the other rider from making the pass on him. And I have to say, I do like the dynamic of having Super Pole, because you have qualifying, and then the top guys from qualifying go into Super Pole, and that's your gate position for at least the start of each of the races. And then every finish thereafter, then that is your new starting position. So if you win race 1, you're going to have first gate pick for race 2. If you get last at race 2, well, you're going to have last gate pick for race 3. So there's good and bad, but it's a different dynamic that keeps it exciting. And you've got riders like Webb that qualify like shit. I think he qualified like around 8th both nights, but he was able to get 5th in Super Pole on night 1 and 3rd on night 2. He's not so much a rabbit, because these kind of races, how it's set up, are designed for sprint speed. He's more of like a turtle, a tortoise, but kind of a tortoise on speed, because he comes on strong at the end. You just need to hit past that 15-minute mark to have his racecraft kind of take advantage of the situation. Totally different dynamics between the riders, between Kenny, Tomac, and Webb, and how they execute a race, which is incredibly interesting. The track. I thought the track flowed really nicely. It was soft. The whoops were massive. You saw a lot of riders hitting every whoop, and then you had a few riders like Kenny and Tomac that were actually missing the second one. They were coming off the first one, wheeling over the second one, and then the front wheel hits the third one, and then the whole bike goes da 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 da. Like Marv, one of the reasons why I feel like Marv didn't perform as well, and yeah, if you saw my TikTok, the prediction of him winning didn't happen, I believe it was because of the whoops. He was hitting every whoop, and he was slower. He got passed by Brayton in the whoop section. Along the lines that the track flowed really nicely, everyone was doing the same rhythms. I did find it interesting between Saturday and Sunday how they changed. After the triple, you had guys on Saturday going double, triple, triple into the corner. And then on Sunday, you had guys going single, double, triple, double into the corner. but everybody was doing that same line. So something must have happened in qualifying and in the track where guys found out that, hey, it's actually faster if we scrub off that first one and stay a little bit lower rather than double off of it and get more airtime on the way out. The start was so important because everyone was doing the same rhythm. We saw in night 2 with Tomac, a damsel in distress, but luckily he had factory suspension to save his ass in Superpole. Cases a quad and nothing happens. Bike just stops right there, almost like a giant bubble, just like factory bike, boom. Nothing against his riding ability because we all know Tomac is the effing man. With that mistake, he had to line up 10th place because it was Superpole, it was for the qualifying. And he finished 3rd in that race, with Kenny winning, Marvin 2nd, and Tomac finished 3rd in that race because of the bad start. He's got that Star Yamaha, which is like a bat out of hell with their motor. That bike was actually stayed there overseas since the first round of World Supercross because they didn't want to spend the money to ship it back to the United States. So it was just stored there and ready for him to rip. Definitely the fastest bike on the track, at least with the start. He was essentially unbeatable in the drag race. But then you had the aggressor, which is Kenny, that was able to sneak up on the inside of him, which makes sense. I believe if this was Supercross in the United States, I don't believe it was a completely one-on-one square fight to the death fight because Kenny didn't really have anything to lose. Tomac had everything to lose because he could not defend his championship if he got hurt. But essentially my point is that start, everybody was on the inside gate, and if you didn't start well, you didn't finish well. You had to start up front with those guys because everybody was doing relatively the same rhythm. In the SX2 class, you had Blows winning all the races night 1. Then you have Matt Moss winning all the races night 2. Unfortunately, Blows was a casualty of the starts on night 2. And then he ended up missing a whoop midway through the whoop section in one of the finales and ended up crashing down, and his night was over with. Same thing with his overall. This is Johnny F. and Hopper. You're watching MX Unfiltered. Make sure you subscribe. We've got good content. Well, I've got good content. I don't know why I'm using the word we, because it's just me, myself, and I with this channel. I've got good stuff planned, especially for Supercross. We got giveaways every month, and the goal is to grow so that we can help grow the sport and give back to some of the privateers that make the dream happen. Shout out to Kevin Morans, who traveled all the way over there with his privateer effort. Didn't quite get the results that I think he was hoping for, but he got some experience and probably had fun around Paris. Till next time, keep it WFO.